Now let's continue to add various materials to our vehicle. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue to add some materials here. Let's create first a kind of black shiny material that we can use for some various pieces. So go to our hypershade, and we'll just create a Fong. Let's go ahead and make this a black color. And we'll see the preview right in there. And you can play around with the reflectivity. I'm going to kind of dial up the specular color and sharpen that up a little bit. And now we can use this for various pieces, such as the back of the hub back basically, and also for a piece of the engine. So if we go back here to the engine, let's say I want this piece to be black. So I'm going to select the faces that I currently have assigned to the car paint red. Just go ahead and assign those, or rather select all of those faces all the way up to the top, just the top part. Then we can grow our selection again. So go ahead and grow my selection. And now if I hold down Shift and drag across my engine, I'll select, basically invert the selection. So with that selected, I'm going to go ahead and choose to assign that Fong. And that Fong has some reflectivity on that. Okay. Alright, so let's say that we want to add some glowing panels back here behind our wheel, for instance right in here. Well, first we need to create that material. So let's go ahead and create that. We're going to be using the same type of material that we use for the HDR dome. So we'll go ahead and create a surface shader. And let's give this a color that's sort of a very pale yellow, a white. Okay. And then we can change our outglow color to give it a little bit of a glow. Okay, now to assign this, simply select those faces that we want to assign it to. I'm going to select these and all of these faces. Basically the faces behind these little insets here. So go ahead and select those faces, and then I will assign that shader to those, that material to those. So I'll get those all selected and go ahead and assign that. You can see even in the viewport how that's starting to look. Let's also go ahead and add it to the center of this little guy here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just select basically those faces and assign that sort of a glow. And then if we take a sort of quick render of this, we'll see what that looks like. Let's turn on our HDRI and do a quick render. Then I'll pause while it renders. And there you can see we've got a nice little glow in there. These little glowing panels going on, which is kind of cool. Alright, let's go ahead and move up to the reflector here. Let's go ahead and add a new material. And let's make this can make it a blend or a Fong. And we'll give it kind of an orange color. Okay, and we'll give it a little bit of incandescence and reflectivity, and then we'll go ahead and assign that to these little reflector guys. Let's move up to the cover here. We can take a look at the glassed material that we have, tweak that if we want, make that a little bit more reflective. We can change our type of the type of specular that we have on it, so on and so forth. Dial our diffuse down a bit. Okay. And let's go ahead and hide this glass now. And so now we want to create some sort of glowing panels on the headlights. So we need to create a kind of blue shader that's similar to the glow that we have over on the wheels. So one of the things that we can do is just to duplicate that. So I'll take my surface shader, duplicate shading network, and we'll go ahead and add a sort of a blue color. And we can add kind of a dark blue if we want to. Something like that. And that gives us a kind of a blue. And so we might want to go ahead and add it to this little guy right in here. If I isolate this, you can see that we've got all these little guys on here. So I can go around and select all of these. I'll just do this one little section here. And you can go through and do the rest. And I'll grow the selection and add that. And then when we smooth that out, you'll get that little blue lights there. Just to add a little bit more interest. We can take these guys, and I'm just going to make those chrome. This, we might need a black matte material, so I'm going to go ahead and create a Lambert and give that a black color, black value there. And so we can use it on places like this. So if I go ahead and grab just the interior faces here, this is been assigned a chrome. So the chrome and the black might look kind of good together. Okay, we'll go ahead and assign that material, and that gives us that black in there. We can also assign our materials to our grill, although we're going to do some texturing. We can create a blend so we can get some shininess. Dial that color down. We can call this grill. And you really want to start to name your materials now that we're starting to get a lot more in here. And we'll make sure and go over here and assign that as well. For this, we could just assign that shiny black material that we created for the engine. So we'll go in and add this fong to that. Okay, for the headlight itself, we want something that's pretty bright and kind of just white, and we're going to be texturing this, so we'll go ahead and just create a blend. And for now, I'll just create kind of a light, little incandescence, some reflectivity, and maybe a little bit of transparency. And we'll use that for the actual headlights themselves. All right, and we'll do obviously do the same thing for the other side. Okay, for the back, for the things like the tail lights, you probably want to just do the same thing. So if I hide this, we can add that headlight material there, and we can duplicate this shading network and make this a red color. And then we can make our part of our tail lights this red color. And we can call this tail light, something like that. Alright, so just go through and kind of assign our materials. I've got assign this our chrome. And I've got this assigned our blend that we have up here in the engine. Let's give this the kind of the black matte that we just created. So that's our Lambert. We can call it black matte if we want to. Something descriptive so that we know what we're looking at. So just kind of take a look around and create some of the shaders that you're going to want. Another good idea might be to take some of the inset pieces and some of the interiors of these and add that black just to add to that shadow kind of right inside there. And also add kind of a screen to this guy. If we go ahead and select those faces, let's go ahead and make our material first in our hyper shade. And I'm going to give it just kind of do a surface shader and give it something like that. So it's got kind of a panel glow to it. Okay, and then all we need to do is select those faces in particular. So go ahead and select those. Let me pause while I select all of these little faces. Alright, so now I've got those selected. I'll go ahead and assign that panel color. It gives us a cool little, and delete the history and freeze those transforms. Gives us a neat little panel there that kind of gives it a little glowing look. Alright, so just to have a look around. So far we've got car paint shader, we've got a red version of that for some accent. We've got the shiny black that we're using for part of the engine and the back of the wheels. We've got the blend that we created for some of the rougher metal. We've got the clear glass, right? We've got the chrome, obviously. We've got the panel. We've got the glows here on the wheels that we can add to the other wheels. And we've got some of these materials for our headlights. We've got the main headlight, and you can go ahead and add that to the mix. I'm going to go ahead and assign my main headlight shader to this. And I think it was this one. You see what happens when we don't name things. So if I select objects with material, yeah, that's the right one. So I'll go ahead and assign that, and let's call that headlight. Alright. And do that one as well. Okay, so we've got a black matte, a shiny black, we've got a chrome, the car paint shader, which in my case is kind of a gray with a little bit of green. We've got the glow, we've got the red car paint shader. So just kind of use your best judgment and have a look around and come up with something that looks good to you. It could just give you, kind of point you in the right direction and let you know where some good places to apply those are. But have some fun with it. For the interior, you could come in and do just a kind of a tan look. We don't really see in there too much, so something to just give an indication. I wouldn't go too crazy on that. All right, so let's go ahead and finish applying some of those materials that we've created. And in the next lesson, we want to actually look at how we can start to add some texture. Right now, we just have materials assigned here. We don't have any sort of texture on here. So to be able to do that, we need to lay out the UVs. So let's look at a couple of lessons on doing UV layout, starting in the next lesson.